This is the story of Selena Quintanilla. Defying all odds, she became the most successful Latina music artist over time. This is the story of Selena Quintanilla, who despite facing so many difficulties in life, became the most acclaimed Latina music artist over time. She was the first female artist to break through the highly competitive ranks of Tejano music market, which was mainly dominated by men at the time. Nobody even thought that she'd make it big in such a highly male-dominated music scene, but Selena didn't flinch at all and proved all of them wrong with her talent and performances. Her story is truly inspirational. Her life story is really inspiring, especially when you consider the fact that she came from a very ordinary background. Her family used to run a restaurant to make ends meet, but the economic slowdown of the 1980s made them go bankrupt and shut down the restaurant. This caused the family to literally go hand-to-mouth, and her father had to rely on food stamps to feed the family for a while. She had a very tough childhood. Reeling in the depths of poverty, there came a time in their lives when they were sharing their accommodation with nearly 13 people at a time. And the worst part was that they had only a single bathroom and toilet to share among the 13 people residing in the house. But as they say, it's the tough times that make people shine. Selena, too, was not deterred or dejected by the tough living conditions she was facing in her house. She turned these hard times into moments of opportunity as she began practicing music with her siblings and started a musical group that eventually helped her in pulling her family out of their hard times. She first tasted success as a musical group with her siblings. Although the musical group didn't gain a remarkable success early on, as she persevered with her siblings in the field, they soon started getting offers to conduct musical tours across the state. So they had to buy a tour bus to conduct these tours, which was refitted and repurposed by her father to accommodate their tour requirements. The group named the tour bus Big Bertha, which was used by all the tours the group undertook later on. She got inspired early on by a legend. There's a famous story about Selena when she was just beginning her career as a young artiste. She had gone to Houston for a show where she met a young rising star who we all know now as Beyoncé. Selena was completely awestruck by the confidence Beyoncé portrayed on the stage and was immediately inspired to follow her dreams with a renewed vigor. Later on, when Selena had made a name for herself in the Latina music industry, Beyoncé once said that she too had noticed Selena as a young performer in the Houston show, and she was highly impressed by her poise and talent. She sang Spanish songs, but her first language was English. Ask anyone about Selena who knows a bit about Spanish music, and they'll tell you what a great artist she was of the Spanish music genre. However, many of us may not realize that her first language was never Spanish because she was born and brought up in the state of Texas in the US, and her first language was actually English. This is precisely the reason why her achievements in Spanish music attain even greater significance, because when she first started performing Spanish songs in Tejano music, she literally had to look at the phonetic spellings to pronounce the Spanish words correctly. Although she ultimately ended up learning the Spanish language, it was never her first language by a long shot. Even then, her popularity among the Latino people of America never diminished even a wee bit, and she also gained popularity in Mexico after a period of time. She learned her music from everyday life. The hard thing about being raised in poverty is that you don't have too many resources at your disposal to help you in pursuing your hobbies in your childhood. Selena faced the same dilemma when growing as a child with her family because her father wasn't earning enough to support her music learning hobby at the time. She couldn't get access to singing lessons or music teachers, and she had to literally learn everything from whatever she could find in her everyday life. She did once say that she learned many of her moves from one of her favorite TV shows, Soul Train, which actually served as an inspiration for all the choreography that she did at the starting of her career. Education was important to Selena. Being the perfectionist that she was, it's no wonder she gave a very huge significance to education in her life. She always believed that education gave you the never-ending wealth of knowledge, which could never be stolen or taken away from anybody at any point in their lives. To promote education among the youth, Selena actually produced an educational video for the students of Cunningham Middle School, where she talked about the virtues of going to a school and how it could open up on the horizons of the young minds. She was often referred to as the Mexican Madonna. Selena was also called the Mexican Madonna, not because of the way she sang, but because her style was completely different from Madonna. It was more due to the way she dressed when she went to perform at stage that she was given this nickname. Every young Latina girl wanted to emulate her. Selena was such an icon in her own right that most Latina girls wanted to be like her. That's why when a biopic of Selena was planned in 1997, it saw the biggest number of young applicants flocking to auditions to play her role in the movie. According to rough estimates, almost 21,000 young Latina actresses auditioned for playing the role of Selena in her biopic. And the lucky one was who finally selected to do the honors was none other than Jennifer Lopez. The biopic gave Jennifer Lopez a very solid platform to launch her acting career and singing career later on. She had an outstanding public persona. Apart from being a music icon, Selena's legacy as a fashion icon is undeniable. Her work with designers such as Zac Efron and Versace helped shape the clothing of the future. Apart from being a music icon, Selena was also a fashion designer and owned several boutiques in and around Texas. Unfortunately, it seems that she wasn't always fair and honest with her customers as we'd hoped. The allegation that emerged against her was that she fired people arbitrarily for purely personal reasons. She always went with her heart. Selena was a loving and caring person who always believed in listening to her heart. That's why when she fell in love with her guitarist, Chris Perez, she decided to marry him when she was only 21 and starting her career. As a matter of fact, Selena had to elope with her guitarist, Chris Perez, because they wanted to keep their relationship a secret from her father, because he wasn't in favor of their marriage and had forbid Selena from seeing Chris again. This prompted Selena to get married with Chris in a private ceremony, which was away from the prying eyes of her family. Selena was hopeful that once she got married with Chris, she would ultimately disclose to her father, who would be more accepting of their relationship after a while. The idea of holding a private ceremony was to keep the news under wraps for some time. But this plan almost failed when some media outlets published the news that Selena was tying the knot. She had a fair share of rumors in her life. There were rumors related to Ricardo Martinez, who began his association with her as a financial advisor, but he soon became a reliable confidant of her that she could trust completely. In recent times, certain rumors have surfaced that Martinez had also been acting as a doctor to give medical care to Selena. There are some sources that claim that Martinez might have done liposuction procedures on Selena, although these rumors look highly improbable considering the age of the artist they're based upon. In Selena's biography that was published several years after her death, the person who penned the biography had made some interesting revelations about her relationship with Ricardo Martinez. The claim actually came from the discovery of a suitcase that was recovered in Selena's hotel room, which had been packed ready with all her clothes, along with a permit to work in Mexico. Although Ricardo still claims till date that he only had a romantic relationship with Selena, but her family denies the claim as a lie. After Selena's demise, there were also rumors related to her pregnancy as well, but none have been proven till date with any substantiated claims. When Selena's assassin was asked the same question in 2006, she'd replied in negative from behind the bars. She was definitely poised for bigger things if her life had not been cut short. Selena had achieved a lot at a very young age because of her unique singing abilities, and she could have surely achieved bigger things in times to come if her life was not suddenly cut short on that fateful morning of March 31st, 1995. Selena was only 23 when she was fatally shot by her friend and associate Yolanda Saldivar with a .38 revolver at Days Inn in Texas. Yolanda was not just Selena's killer, she was the president of Selena's pop star fan club and also the manager of all the boutiques owned by Selena. That's why Selena's assassination by Yolanda came as a big shock for everyone, because no one could have thought that a close friend and confidant of the family would commit such a heinous crime. Was it possible to prevent her killing? Although Selena's family, the Quintanillas, had realized that there was something seriously wrong with Yolanda Saldivar, but they really had no idea about its extent. However, by this time, Yolanda was already very deeply involved in the business affairs of Selena, and she had already started skimming away a good chunk of Selena's money in her personal accounts. When this whole scam was finally revealed by Selena's younger brother in the presence of Yolanda, she was enraged by the accusations that she committed the ultimate act of crime by killing the same person who had actually brought all that wealth in the first place. She had such an eventful life that it was made into a biopic in 1997. Although Selena's life was cruelly brought to an end by a deranged psychopath woman at a very young age of 23, the list of her significant achievements prompted a biopic on her life in 1997. In this biopic, the role of Selena was portrayed by a young Jennifer Lopez, who was also her first big acting role. More than 2 decades have passed after this biopic now, but Netflix is still planning to launch a new television series that takes into account the surviving family members and their personal stories. To conclude, this is the story of Selena Quintanilla, a promising young talent and a rising Latina music star who rose to unparalleled heights of success in a very short lifespan. It's tragic that her life was brought to an abrupt end by a psychopath who, instead of accepting her wrongdoings, actually ended up killing her best friend in the process. It's definitely a moving account of a life that was so talented and would have achieved greater things if her life was not cut short suddenly by a freak crime committed by a crazy individual.